responded about an hour ago. I'm all for this. So is pretty much everyone I know on the right. If the left doesn't believe me, there's probably countless tweets, interviews, and my Triggered podcast to refer to. This seems more like a universal to most Americans I've spoken to.
Yes.
That is the president's son and very influential, saying, yes, we would like to do the dream that left-wing populists have had.
What you guys are looking at here in the B-roll footage is a small clip from the Culture War podcast episode between Tim Pool and Sam Seder. Also, something else too, you're also going to see a bit from Jimmy Dore the other day in the B-roll footage, and of course you're also going to see Cenk. Now, the reason why I'm making this video is because there are some content creators out there who have noticed a little bit of a pattern with Cenk, and of course that pattern has been going on for the most part the entire year of 2024. Even some of his own audience have been saying that he's starting to shift a little bit more to the right, but I'm here to tell you guys right now that that is not the case. I think that what is going on here is that Cenk is, well, joining the club or joining the grift, which is I need to get the hell away from the far left because these people are not, how do I say, sustainable going forward. But about the clips that you guys saw just now in the B-roll footage, let's watch a montage of them so that way we can better understand what's going on here.
Right-wing pundit who joined a liberal network like Anna Kasparian announcing she's leaving the left, you know what I mean? Or Dave Rubin.
I mean, listen, if you want to say that these are like the intellectual pillars of...
No, certainly not. I'm saying something's causing an emotional rift that makes people not want to be on the left anymore.
Well, I would suggest it's probably cash.
I've been trying to figure out why I'm more optimistic now than I was before the election. Even though I was so against the guy who won. I know now, MAGA is not my mortal enemy. And neither is... My mortal enemy is the establishment, and they have been defeated.
Wow, straight from the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Okay, so you guys obviously heard all that. By the way, Cenk would respond to Sam Seder, and I'll get to that here in a second because I do think it was actually I would say that it was actually a pretty good rant that he had, roughly a minute and a half, that was on the members only segment of TYT, but the person that would know him best would obviously be Jimmy Dore. Of course, I don't think I need to bring up the whole force the vote thing. I don't think I need to bring up the stuff that, let's just say the stuff that made these two absolutely hate each other. But then again, the progressives do in fact have a habit of eating their own. And I think that the eating of their own is probably going to pick up. It's probably going to intensify over the next 4 years. Now, somebody that you're seeing here in the B-roll footage is obviously Anna Kasparian. This right here is from the other day when they had a conversation with Charlemagne the God, where Charlemagne the God basically pointed out that the liberals needed to get out of the bubble. They needed to stop living inside of a bubble, and they needed to actually have conversations with real people.
So when I started asking why is when I started to understand, what people were wanting to vote for him for. And they weren't voting for him because, they love him or he's some beloved figure. They were voting for him because they just thought he was better on these issues, which is the economy and the border. And another reason I think that's just a ridiculous, thing to say is because, man, yes, I voted for Vice President Kamala Harris.
Okay, you guys obviously heard that. But as I have said before, and I'll stand on this right here, continue to stand on this, the country itself, the vast majority of the left-wing voter base lives in America's major cities. New York, Boston, Chicago, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle, Washington. Of course, Miami is one of the few big cities that's been shifting to the right. So is Dallas. So is Houston. Also, to go on top of that, Philadelphia. Northern New Jersey as a whole, where you've got Rutherford, East Rutherford, you've got Newark, you've got Jersey City. That right there is a very, very liberal place. And, of course, we're seeing a shift to the right in a lot of those states. States like, say, New Jersey, and, of course, even a state like Massachusetts shifted to the right. However, it shifted to the right in its rural, small-town areas. That right there is what's really and truly going on in the country, is that you're seeing a small-town rural alliance with some in the big cities shifting over, shooting to the right because of issues like crime and what's going on with the economy. The paycheck doesn't go as far as it needs to go. And Cenk, of course, living in L.A., would obviously be a part of that group. You would think he'd be a part of that group, but of course, this right here, once again, as I have said before, and will continue to say, this right here is really just a grift. I actually agree with Jimmy Dore. It is, in fact, a grift, as you guys will hear now.
I told you that.
That's what I've been saying. I've been saying that since 2016. MAGA is not my enemy; they're my neighbor.
he's not being funded anymore. So Katzenberg, whoever was giving him money, that money
Oh,
ain't, you don't think that's what it is?
They
He
invested.
says what he's funded to say. Now he's going to say whatever he thinks will get him some money.
so
Right?
I tweeted out, this unbelievably piece of shit ruined his show by relentlessly lying to his audience about Russiagate and accusing Trump of working for Putin and slandering everyone, including Julian Assange and me, over it. Now that his audience sees through him and he looks like a demented propagandist that he is, he's now trying to sound like me to gain some sort of credibility he lost long ago. He was foaming at the mouth in his enthusiasm for the Ukraine war, the Syrian war, and slandered anti-war journalists in the process. Cenk is a phony and a willing propagandist who is a...
There's also this bit about Jeffrey Katzenberg's money. Of course, that would make sense if the people who run Disney and ABC are trying to shift their content back more towards the center. Let me say this about Cenk. Cenk is probably, if you meet him in real life, he's probably a nice guy. You could probably get along with him. But of course, he does have a history of attacking conservatives, MAGA, all that type of stuff there. I mean, if you guys remember correctly, there was the Nashville shooting. And of course, there was another shooting that occurred in Wisconsin going after a Christian school again. Probably talk about that once all the facts come out, either tonight or probably tomorrow. I've got a bit of a mix-up in the content. I want to talk about the Sophie Rain issue and how parents should view this OnlyFans type crap. I wanted to talk about that, but of course that video may be getting delayed. It may be getting put off until tomorrow. But still, though, at the same time, this right here was Cenk after that shooting.
A little bit of a hypocrite here, but it's not. I'll explain why I'm saying it. I don't like guns. I would ban assault weapons in a second. We can go on and on about the gun control that we need in this country. And I always tell people, don't get guns. It'll make you less safe. I'm gonna make an exception here for trans people. They are actually in danger. They have had hundreds of laws passed against them. They have right-wing media ginning up fear against them 24/7. They are targeted more than any other group in America. And if anyone should get guns, it should be trans Americans.
What I'm saying to you is that there's a track record. There's a track record with Cenk Younger, and that track record is a track record that I think that the conservative side of the aisle, especially those who are new to conservatives, who, by the way, left the left because of people like Cenk. You could probably say to yourself that these people got a heavy dose of real life, and that right there is obviously true. But look at what Cenk, look at what Kyle Kalinske, look at what Destiny, look at what all these left-wing influencers have been telling their audience for years. None of it has came true. None of it has been accurate. And then to go on top of that, these people suddenly figure out that these people are, in fact, frauds and bad actors. So what do? Get the hell away from them. Oh, wait, maybe conservatives are correct. You know what? Maybe my friend down the road who's told me about this issue, that issue there, maybe they know a little bit more than me. Maybe they got a little bit more life experience. Maybe that right there is what's going on. Then again, there's also the topic of young men. I personally believe that the real reason why young men have shifted to the right is because of all the woke crap, and this also includes the feminism issue. You obviously cannot help the fact that you were born a male. You obviously cannot help the fact that you were born white. You obviously cannot affect you can't help the fact that you were born black, that you were born Hispanic. You cannot help the way you were born. Of course, I can also hear the LGBTQ pundits coming in here and say, see, he said it. I stand by what I said about that there. That right there is mostly through learned behavior, and it's a choice. But still, though, at the same time, you cannot help the color of your skin. Cenk, by the way, towed this woke line. Really, he's been towing it ever since its actual inception. Its inception, in my honest, humble opinion. I said honest, humble opinion. I have no idea why I said that. But still, though, you guys know me. I'm not exactly above leaving errors in videos. But still, the point is this right here. The whole woke line, in a lot of ways, its inception started when Obama became president. Next thing you know, everything became racial. As I've always said before, race relations in this country got a lot worse under Barack Obama after the country had proven to you that they were not racist by voting for a black president, not only once, but twice. And then turned right back around and rejected the white woman afterwards. Which, by the way, that same white woman, Hillary Clinton, we basically have been spoon-fed that she was going to be the president ever since her husband was in office. Just saying that the American people have this tendency to get tired of things after a while. They typically tend to say, screw you, we're done. But of course, we got to go back to TYT, and we've got to listen to Anna Kasparian tell us why it is that this right here is the case with the Democratic Party. While she's not saying it out loud, she's not entirely wrong on this. As a matter of fact, this is also going to be the bit before we go away on break for Christmas, where Stephen A. Smith pretty much did the exact same thing. Of course, it took him 17 minutes to do so, where Anna Kasparian only took about 1 minute and 29 seconds. Let's roll this.
By the Democratic Party. And, one of the things that would come up over and over again was the immigration issue. And I'm not under the impression at all that these are anti-immigrant individuals, but people living in places like Chicago, for instance, who have seen their resources, which are usually used to nickel and dime the local black community there, essentially be used for the influx of migrants who came in. Federal government run by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris just kind of neglected the issue and allowed these municipalities to struggle with the issue on their own. And the thing that frustrates me, Charlemagne, is that if you are someone who identifies as on the left, regardless of where you fall on that left-wing spectrum, if you have the audacity to bring up this very real issue, well, I mean, you know how Sonny Hostin will treat you if you bring it up on The View.
Now, I've talked about Anna a lot this year, a lot. It really started for her openly back in 2023, but I think that sexual assault, which of course I probably just hurt myself in the algorithm by saying exactly that there, the essay that occurred outside of her home, outside of her apartment, I think changed her mind on a few issues, at least on the topic of crime. But of course, there would also be the eventual call out of New York Governor Kathy Hochul when she went on The View and said that crime was not a problem in New York. She brought up the fact that you had a guy cutting off limbs and putting them on subways. I mean, it's still that is a story I'll probably discuss on that third channel that I'm creating. What exactly happened there with serial killers and crap like that? Because I do plan on doing a channel dedicated to crime and history and mysteries. Also, to go on top of that, she seemed to be a little bit more red pilled on the topic of immigration. Cenk kind of went along with her on that. I think what Cenk is really doing is he's copying Anna. Yes, I think that's exactly what he's doing, because normally Anna will bring up the issue first, or Anna will call it out, or Anna may even come back with the questions after this. Like, for example, there was this bit on TYT where Cenk brought up the fact that Don Jr. had retweeted him. I think Don Jr. needs to go take a look at TYT's library before he decides to have a serious conversation with Cenk, which I'll explain to you guys in a second why it is that this right here is always going to remain a problem with the left going forward, because their worldview is completely different from those who have common sense. By the way, I'm not talking about the left as in liberals. I'm talking about leftists. There's nothing liberal about leftists. Just want to go ahead and point that out before I go further. But speaking of that segment, let me play some of that for you guys. And then, of course, I'll come back, give you my commentary, and then I'll play Anna's segment, because Anna does point out that what took you so damn long, Cenk?
But I am weirdly optimistic and hopeful now after the election, not because I'm happy that Trump won, but because the establishment is defeated. And the establishment is immovable. And Pentagon, they never do. They would never have conflict of interest rules, because they think, oh my God, if we do it for the generals, maybe they're going to think about doing it for the politicians. And the politician, oh my God, how would I feed my family if I can't make millions of dollars after I retired, being a lobbyist and a consultant and all these things? So, look, here they are. Now, this is the second time Donald Trump Jr. has responded and said yes. And when I go on the shows, guys, it's not like I'm making them agree, or this is the first time they heard about it. And they're like, oh, maybe. No, as he's saying here, we've been for this. You guys weren't listening. I have to say
something. And look, no one knows for sure. No one knows for sure, because no one was in any of those rooms where Trump allegedly said very naughty things. But the generals hated Trump. They always hated Trump. Trump wanted to pull out of Afghanistan. They didn't want to pull out of Afghanistan. So all of the stories quoting, military generals who had meetings with Trump, closed door meetings, and Trump allegedly said all of these naughty things, I don't know what to believe, because it's a he said, she said type situation.
So I think.
Okay, so there's a lot there. Let me explain to you why it is that this right here will not work. All right. The military budget includes a lot of money that we pay to other nations. Like, for example, we give, I think, Spain right around $3 or $4 billion. And of course, if you live in Spain, You probably, and I know some people from Spain who've bragged about the free health care, and some people who say that the health care is absolute trash. But still, though, at the same time, they have free health care because they're not kicking out $4 to $5 billion on that product for a population of roughly 47 million people. Also, to go on top of that, you've got Germany, who we have to subsidize because we got a military installation there, too. As a matter of fact, we've got multiple military installations in Germany. We're subsidizing a lot of these people's defense. I'm pretty sure when you go into the military budget, you'll find roughly $30 to $45 billion in cash that is subsidies, which, of course, you could get that money back by just simply selling obsolete equipment. We have so much of it, we could afford to sell some, while at the same time, also, we could afford to put in maintenance on said obsolete equipment, so that way we could use something like, say, the F-16, F-15 fighter jet, use it as interceptors, that type of stuff there, which, of course, many people have brought up the fact that the Iron Dome in Israel, why do we not have one? And I have to remind them that we do have an Iron Dome here in the United States. It's called the United States Air Force. Our military doctrine, our nuclear missile doctrine or missile defense doctrine includes those planes. Those planes can get to a nuclear missile. They can get to any type of attacks in this country a lot faster than firing rockets. Just simply saying, if you actually dig in and think about it, you'll see that we already have an Iron Dome. And not to mention the country's location on the map makes it very, very difficult for nations to strike. But the leftist worldview on the military itself is not a worldview that needs to be adopted. These right here are people who were going out of their way. They would want body armor cut. They would want tank production cut. They would want weapons production as a whole cut. Now, I have told you guys before, I am not anti-war. I'm anti-stupid wars. I'm very, very pro-military as somebody who served. Also, to go on top of this, not only am I very, very pro-military, I'm also at the same time pro-military industrial complex if used correctly. What we're seeing right now is a lot of dirty crap. We're seeing a lot of kickbacks. A lot of things that Cenk mentioned that he's absolutely correct about. But if we give the leftists what they want when it comes to this, they're going to come in there and make all kinds of ridiculous demands like, why are we spending money on this level of body armor? We're not in war right now. It's called R&D. It's called research and development. It's called creating the new weapon, the new thing that would keep our troops safe in combat. And also, to go on top of that, a lot of the medical technology, the same technology that these leftists claim doesn't work because our healthcare system is so god-awful and bad, it's the same stuff that's being developed by the military. I'm very, very much in favor of weapons manufacturing. I'm also very, very much in favor of having a military that's trained, ready to go, big enough. I'm also very, very much a proponent of a much, much larger Navy, and also, to go on top of that, a much, much larger Marine Expeditionary Force. It's the way we utilize our military-industrial complex. It's the dirtiness in the military-industrial complex that I do not like. I believe you could reallocate roughly $35 billion and put it into training. I think you can then turn right back after that there and reallocate another $45 billion that's being spent on stupid shit, while at the same time also cutting an additional $45 to $75 billion without cutting anything that's actually essential. If you let the leftists take over, next thing you know, they're going to be cutting the most essential parts of the military because they do not understand the military. These same people are loving every second of the DEI crap that's going on in our military. They're loving every second of it. Anytime these people say that they're pro-military, I laugh in their face. Because the first chance something happens, what do? They blame America. You don't want the blame America crowd anywhere near the U.S. military. You don't want the blame America crowd anywhere near politics. But of course, like I said, there is a past with Cenk. And I haven't even mentioned some of the crap that he said. Jimmy Dore pointed that out earlier. Speaking of that,
Political discourse in America.
Well, to be fair, the political discourse is mostly cancer, so you can't really.
It is mostly.
You're kind of an anomaly that you're saying things that you actually think whether or not it will. You know, a grifter changes their position to get more money. They don't change. Like
That's exactly what he's doing.
I've never seen you do that ever.
No, I've never done that. No, I lost lots of viewers when I told the truth about Bernie Sanders. They didn't want to hear it.
Positions, but not for money. I don't give a shit how anybody feels. If I think it's right, it's right.
They didn't. Let me finish. I lost lots of viewers when I told the truth about AOC. They did not want to hear it. I've lost lots of viewers when I told the truth about COVID. When I told the truth about the Ukraine war, I lost lots of viewers. It doesn't matter. That I do this show. It takes a...
Oh, there's a little bit more. I had to cut that off within 30 seconds, but Jimmy's not lying. Cenk has, and I'm probably going to spend less time than he did going after Cenk for some of the past things that he has said, but The truth be told is Cenk has a past, like I said, of going after lying. I mean, the Kyle Rittenhouse situation was probably the best example of TYT and their lies. And yes, Anna took part. So while Anna is definitely coming around, yeah, I don't know if Cenk's grip is going to work. As a matter of fact, I'm heavily inclined to think that it won't work, but let's get back on topic. The thing is this right here. These people have never understood conservatives, and if they're coming over with the purpose of actually trying to understand why we feel the way they do, if they don't plan any type of course correction, if they plan on just attacking us every chance they get, which they oftentimes do, then no. I mean, I wouldn't. The grift's not going to work. You've said way too much about conservatives, about Trump. You've attacked us way too much for us to just up and forgive you overnight. But I will say what I always say to end this video when it comes to this type of stuff. And that is, take them at face value, watch what they do, and make them prove to you that they're being truthful. That right there is the way you should actually handle these people. But then again, though, given Cenk's MO, I highly doubt that this particular grift is going to work. Anna, on the other hand, it could work. But Cenk, I'm not so sure. But you guys tell me what you think in the comment section. Make sure you guys please hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sign off in the comments. I'm going to try to get a second video out, but last night, the issues that I had, the health-related issue with my leg sort of acting up, it made sleep very, very difficult. And I don't know if you guys can tell or not, but I actually got up only about an hour and a half ago. It was that kind of night. And I do have a doctor's appointment, so the timing's a little bit scrunched there. So I don't know outside the normal schedule what I got to adjust if I can get a second video out. So chances are this video is probably going to get released at 2 o'clock, maybe even 1. But I've also got the appointment coming up. And while it is a phone appointment, it's still going to take a little while. So I'll try to get a second video out today. If I can't get it out today, they'll do 2 out tomorrow, and then 1 out on Thursday, maybe 2, and then maybe 2 out on Friday. And I may do the Christmas video on Friday and then get one more story out on Saturday going into the weekend, obviously for algorithm purposes, but to obviously notify you guys if anything is happening. Still, please hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sign off in the comments, and I'll see you guys later.